2017 has been significant for archaeology. We have uncovered new discoveries and made sense of ones we found years ago. Introducing Top 10 Major Archaeological Discoveries Made in 2017. Let's see. Number 10. Giant Colossus unearthed under slums of Cairo. This year, archaeologists uncovered a Roman-era tomb near the town of Mania, 3 other ancient graves near Sinlet which could be part of a much larger cemetery, and a tomb near the Valley of the Kings belonging to a goldsmith named Amenemhat which contained hundreds of artifacts. But the most headline-grabbing discovery was the giant statue unearthed in March underneath the Cairo suburb of Mataria. Initially, archaeologists found the 3-ton torso of the statue and later discovered the head. Further excavations uncovered the pedestal and 2 toes, and officials are confident that most, if not all, of the remaining parts will eventually be found in the same place. Based on the size of the torso, the whole statue should be around 9 meters or 29 feet tall. Number 9. Solving the mystery of the Hunley. On February 17, 1864, the Confederate submersible H.L. Hunley became the first combat submarine to sink a battleship when it attacked the sloop of war USS Housatonic. Its entire crew were lost that same day and remained lost for 130 years. The wreck was discovered in 1995 and raised in 2000. The skeletons of all 8 crew members were at their stations, and there were no signs of an escape attempt. This posed a new question: what killed them? Popular theories suggested that crew of the Housatonic had time to shoot holes into the Hunley before the warship sank, or that the submarine simply collided with another ship on its way home. Number 8. No ecocide on Easter Island. A genetic study published this year adds to the growing archaeological evidence which aims to debunk the myth of the Easter Island ecocide, the notion that the Rapa Nui people caused their own demise through warfare and deforestation. Easter Island might be tiny, but it is well known thanks to its moai statues and has been studied extensively. The more scientists researched this small island, which is now almost barren of resources, the more they believe that it was the natives themselves who caused the ecocide of Easter Island. This idea stemmed from 2 claims. First, the island's population used to number tens of thousands of inhabitants before plummeting to just a couple of thousand by the time the Europeans arrived in the early 18th century. Second, the Rapa Nui people carelessly deforested the land to move and plant moai, leading to increasingly poorer crop yields and a wood shortage which, eventually, caused the warfare that led to the population's demise. It also argues that slave raids, introduced disease, and enforced migration from the 18th century on is what actually caused the population to dwindle. Number 7. Long-lost Temple of Artemis. After over 100 years of searching, archaeologists have announced that they found the remains of a lost ancient temple dedicated to Artemis. The ruins are located on the Greek island of Euboea, near the coastal town of Amarinthos. Just for clarification, this is not the Temple of Artemis, which was considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world whose remnants are located in modern-day Turkey. Archaeologists began looking for the temple towards the end of the 19th century. The reason it took them this long is that they were working off inaccurate directions. Their main source of information was Strabo, a 1st-century Greek geographer and historian. He wrote that the temple was located 7 states away from the ancient city of Eretria. In the end, the temple was found 60 states away or almost 11 kilometers or 7 miles. Number 6. More historical finds at Antikythera. The Antikythera wreck has been covered extensively, and yet it seems as though there are many new discoveries and revelations to talk about. This Roman-era shipwreck was found back in 1900 by sponge divers exploring near the Greek island of Antikythera. It became famous for a complex device dubbed the Antikythera mechanism, which has been hailed as the world's first analog computer. Mysterious mechanism aside, the Antikythera wreck proved to be a treasure trove of historical artifacts, and the most recent dive suggests that there are plenty more things left to discover. Again, divers uncovered a vast array of relics, and the one that has gotten archaeologists the most excited is the arm of a bronze statue. This is due to two reasons. First, bronze statues are among the rarest artifacts from antiquity. We know from writings that they were incredibly popular, but, due to the value of bronze, most of them were melted down and recycled. Second, the arm fragment does not match any statue bodies we have found. This led archaeologists to speculate that the rest of the statue, and perhaps others, can be found somewhere near the deposit, which went undisturbed until this year's excavation. Number 5. Ancient settlement found in Canada. The early history of humans in North America is spotty, at best, and new discoveries are constantly rewriting our understanding of that time period. This year, archaeologists found one of the earliest North American settlements on Turkey Island off the coast of British Columbia. This new find supports the idea that British Columbia's coastline experienced a large human migration at one point in history. Moreover, it also lends credence to the oral histories of First Nations, as the site was uncovered based off stories from the indigenous Heiltsuk people. Number 4. First female Viking warrior. Back in the 1880s, archaeologists discovered a large 10th century Viking gravesite at the settlement of Bricka on Joorko Island. Approximately 1,100 graves were located at the site, but one dubbed BJ 581 immediately stood out from the rest. It was situated on an elevated terrace next to a garrison, and it contained the complete equipment of a professional warrior: sword, axe, spear, battle knife, arrows, shields, and horses. Furthermore, scholars also found a board game called Nefadaflin, the Skeleton's Lap. The tomb clearly belonged to a high-ranking warrior. Everyone presumed the warrior to be male, but for the past few decades, some have questioned this point, arguing that the skeletal remains featured female characteristics. Earlier this year, researchers from Stockholm University used DNA samples recovered from the arm and tooth of the skeleton to show that the individual lacked a Y chromosome. The discovery marks the first confirmed high-ranking female Viking warrior and will probably change how we view gender norms during that age. Number 3. The long-lost city of Alexander the Great. Drones have proven to be an invaluable tool for archaeologists due to the ease and speed with which they can provide high-quality aerial images of hard-to-reach areas. In a short amount of time, drones helped uncover ruins, shipwrecks, and other historical relics, and we can add another item to that list: a lost city founded by Alexander the Great. The city in question is called Gulagdarband and is located in the modern-day Kurdistan region of Iraq. It was founded sometime in the late 4th century BC and developed a thriving wine trade. Despite this, the city disappeared from historical records a few centuries later and was lost for almost 2,000 years. The first photographs of Gulagdarband were actually taken in the 1960s by the CIA with spy satellites. Afterwards, a joint venture between Iraqi and British archaeologists used drones to take modern photographs of the area and found the lost city. Number 2. Scholars pinpoint oldest solar eclipse on record. According to researchers at the University of Cambridge, the oldest known solar eclipse ever recorded happened on October 30, 1207 BC. They arrived at this date by comparing ancient Egyptian and biblical texts and developed a new code to calculate eclipse dates by taking into account variations such as the planet's rotation over time. The biblical story in question comes from the book of Joshua in the Old Testament. When Joshua led the people of Israel into Canaan, the sun stood still, and the moon stopped. The Cambridge scholars were not the first historians to think that this part might have recorded a real astronomical event. However, they were the first to consider that it might not have been a total eclipse and, instead, an annular eclipse where the moon is too far away to cover the sun's disk completely, creating a ring of fire. Number 1. Scholars pinpoint oldest solar eclipse on record. Towards the end of 2016, people working on Rome's new metro line stumbled upon a sensational discovery of enormous importance. After taking the time to examine and authenticate the find, archaeologists made the official announcement this April. They uncovered part of one of the oldest aqueducts in Roman history. According to archaeologist Simona Moretta, the aqueduct is roughly 2,300 years old and likely part of the Aqua Appia, the oldest known Roman aqueduct, constructed in 312 BC as newer, better aqueducts were built in Rome. This one fell out of use and began being used as a sewer. This provided archaeologists studying the structure with an added bonus of food leftovers and animal remains, which offered insight into the Roman diet and their preferred pets. The aqueduct is still being investigated with plans to dismantle it and rebuild it at another location to put it on display for the public. For more watching videos, watch these. And subscribe my channel also. Thank you.